Hey there, super friends. It's Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Friday, April 26, 2019. Yep, missed an episode this week. I was homesick. Stupid stomach bug. Whoever put a pox upon my house, I will give you $5 to lift it, please. Please. This shit's getting out of hand, yo. Okay, so news. Well, okay. Another thing, caveat, I guess, provision, addendum, I don't know. I apologize, as there are going to be a lot of fun sounds. Right now, the rain's pretty light, but it seems to alternate between reasonable rain and unreasonable monsoon. So you'll hear the windshield wipers and sniffling, because apparently, I don't know if it's cold or allergies. It's probably allergies. It's about that time of year. So, try to hang with me, I guess. So, as with the previous time we brushed up against this topic, well, no, I guess we'll go a little more direct. So it looks like Owen Turtenwald has finally been bounced out of the MPL. Due to the delay between the initial something's going on and the resulting, hey, look at, we're replacing him. I'm going to assume an investigation was done and the complaints against him were found to have merit. So, there we go. But the positive out of all of this, if one can be had, is we're going to be welcoming Autumn Burchett to the, what is it, Mythic Players League? Is that what MPL stands for? Yeah, I think that's what MLP stands for. Or MPL. Yeah. Anyway, which is really exciting. To my knowledge, Autumn will be the first non-male player added to the MPL. Now, I don't think the fact that there are no non-male, or were no non-male players prior to this, says anything bad about WotC. They selected players based on top-end performance. We are now getting to the place where non-male players have started matriculating to the top. It's a process. It takes a while. Because we all know you don't go from, playing FNMs or whatever to winning GPs in one fell swoop. For the most part. I don't know. I guess that happens for some people. For the majority of people, that's not how it goes. You're an FNM hero and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to a GP, and you get squashed. Because the global meta is much different than your local meta. Also, when you play against the same people all the time, you start to learn their tells, and you're no longer playing against their deck, you're playing against the person. Unless you're really good at identifying tells with limited interaction, that skill set doesn't carry over to playing against new, complete strangers. Anyway, so it takes some time grinding on the larger circuit to achieve those successes. And, we've had a kind of revolution of non-male players in just the past couple years, so hold on, I gotta turn on my defroster. Which, is great. Elsa, don't start acting funny, alright? Look, I'm not putting up with your shit. Anyway, yeah, it's great that we're seeing more non-male players in the game space, but it does take some time for it to matriculate up. Whereas Autumn Burchett is a Mythic champion, the first ever Mythic champion, in fact. So, Yeah, anyway. All that being said, I'm, glad to see some diversity getting in there, but I also don't feel it would have been right to give players of lesser accomplishments a slot in the MPL because of their demographics, right? So it's a touchy, sensitive issue, and I get it, but I think Autumn has very much earned their spot in the MPL. I think overall it's good for the game. This is the other thing. Can we stop, having a war with the MPL players? If you ever hope to achieve one of those coveted contracts, don't war with the MPL players. Because what that eventually is going to lead to is the abandonment of the program and a very, very long time before anything like it is ever tried again, because it will be looked back upon and said, oh no, you know what, we tried that and it didn't work. And it created all this animosity and this division in the player base and, created all these problems. I'm not saying don't call MPL players out on bad takes. That's dark. No, it was a bad take, especially with how highly frustrated the community at large was over that particular thing. And, I think Brad Nelson had a very level-headed approach on it when I asked him about it in his stream chat. Was this qualification metric rough? Yeah, 100%. But it's, already been stated that this was a one-time deal for this very special tournament. But to deny that it was essentially a lottery now, and again, in order to participate in this lottery, you had to earn your way, you had to earn your ticket. But once you got to that top end, it was a lottery. And for anybody to pretend that it was anything else is really... And that's not to take away from the arena players that got invited to the Mythic Invitational. It's not to say, they just dumb luck. No, you needed skill to even get in the running. But who finally landed on those top 8 spots when they cut it was less or more random than I'm sure most people would have liked. That's why, going forth, they've announced that the Mythic Championship qualification through Arena will be much different, much more organized, much less guesswork when your computer says, oh, hey, they cut it off and you're number 2, and you're like, yeah, and then Monday you don't get the email saying, hey, come play in this tournament because, once all the data was aggregated and fussed with and done whatever with, you were actually number 9. It's going to be, oh my god, traffic. Yeah, I knew it was going to be like this because it poured. And people lose their goddamn minds. Actually, it like scary rained. Boo forgot to text me when she got home from school. And so I spent 25 minutes frantically trying to get her to answer her phone because, much like her father, she does not turn her ringer back on at the end of her day. And so she doesn't hear it ring. And yeah, there was some moments of terror of, oh my god, is she not at home in this awful storm? And we got tornado watches and shit going on. It's just straight up awful. Anyway, moving right along. So, yeah, I'm not saying don't call out players on bad takes, regardless of what their status is. But can we let the MPL thing die? I get that it was a joke and everything, and it's probably has a lot to do for the amount of respect I have for Todd Anderson. That, okay, so you want me to go that way. I kind of want to just go this way, but we'll try it your way, Google. Okay, well, then pass me, but I need to move lanes. Oh, you're also trying to move lanes. Okay. Fuck, what was I talking about? Oh, from another player that I maybe didn't follow so closely, maybe my view on it would be different. So I will say a lot of this is colored with my, respect and whatever for Todd Anderson. I kind of feel like it was meant to be a joke and it kind of got out of hand. Because you can't really... One MPL player said some pretty snide things. And then one MPL player kind of accidentally said some kind of snide things because English isn't his first language. And the English isn't a language so much as it's like 4 sub-languages in a trench coat. There are a lot of nuances to it that I work with people who have been in this country for 10 plus years but English is their second language, and there's still nuances that, they don't quite get. And it's fine. So, confirmed Martin Yusa is not, in fact, an asshat. Cool. But it all started over one bad take and one only looked bad take. And we need to just kind of let it go. I get that it is the nature of the have-nots to be viciously envious of the haves, but do keep in mind that every person holding an MPL contract worked their ass off for it. And yeah, okay, maybe there was some luck involved here and there. That can't be denied. I busted my ass to get to where I am in my life, but I can tell you, getting picked up by a recruiter for the position that I was contracting in and then became the firm I was contracting at permanently hired me on was an extreme stroke of luck. It was an opportunity that fell into my lap, and I made the most of it, but it was still an opportunity that fell into my lap. And I can admit that. It doesn't take away from all the work I've done to, maintain the position and everything, but there is some luck factor at play. But I mean, a lot of these players were very, very dedicated to the game when it wasn't terribly profitable to do so. That's why most of them belong to content creation groups, because that's where, prior to the MPL contracts, it's where I would guess most of them made their money, because when you really factor in the cost to attend a tournament and the fact that you don't even top 8 everyone, you don't even cash everyone that you play in, let alone win, I think you'd find that tournament winnings are actually not a substantial income unless you are consistently at least top 8ing, possibly winning these tournaments. Hopefully I'm going slow enough that having my window down a bit won't matter. Even though I'm on a major interstate. It's the kind of day I've been having. So, in any case, London Mulligan, time zones continue to baffle me. So I actually didn't catch much coverage today. I caught the very end of the last round when they were like, yeah, we're going to go see some BBD, and then it was not BBD. It was a good match to watch, though. Oh, sorry. But Did catch the very end of the last round of the day, and I went back to watch the rerun, but it was all draft. How Twitch works also eludes me sometimes. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up on some coverage over the weekend. Doubt I'm going to get to watch any live coverage, because it is pre-release weekend, and Boo and I are hitting them hard. We're only doing one more event than usual. It just feels like so much more. So we're doing Two-Headed Giant tomorrow, where we'll be teamed. We're doing Two-Headed Giant tomorrow Two-Headed Giant on Sunday, where she's going to team with Rockstar, and currently my teammate is Mystery. I was going to team with Tempest, passed up an opportunity to team with Stady, just because Tempest is a little bit newer to organized play, so I thought she could use the benefit of maybe a more patient teammate, rather than try to pick up a random one chance getting somebody that's a little high strung and you're on the back foot. But it turns out she has to work, so I'll be trying to wrangle a teammate for that one. And then we are also doing the Sunday evening sealed solo event. Judge usually runs that one, but he can't this time around, so boss asked me to do it, which is fine. It'll be a good test. I think I talked about this before, for how Boo puts up with 9 hours of playing Magic, to feel out how practical it is for us to do that team event at SCG Pittsburgh. What are you doing? You're the worst kind of person. You're history's greatest monster. Stop. Anyway, I'm excited. I did break down and buy some gems so I could do War of the Spark sealed last night, and I hit 5 wins before I got kicked off the ladder. Neat set. I maybe didn't build the best deck, but neat set. Got some neat cards. I did cash in some wild cards for 4 combat or Cruel Celebrants, and 2 Bantus for the I Can Be Your Hero deck. It's a Mardu Hero Precinct 1 Aristocrats-esque deck, because as far as I have seen, we still haven't gotten the truly free sack outlet for Aristocrats to really work like it has in the past, and it makes me sad. So sad. But I think Aristocrats can still be viable. You just gotta build it a little differently. So I did grab those, ran that deck a little bit last night. Did okay, not great. I had some, really rough draws. I was playing in the best of 3, and 2 matches in a row, two hands. One of the matches was only 2 games. The other one, the middle game, I did okay, but had to mulligan down to 4, because it's 1 land and, every card in my hand costs 3 or more mana. Okay, mulligan down to 6. 5 lands and a 1-drop. Alright, that's not gonna do it. Let's go to 5. 5 lands. I'm tempted, but it's not gonna work out. So, that was a little rough. I know what you're saying, just imagine if I had the London mulligan. Yeah, I'm really not sold on this idea. Todd Anderson, as we were talking about him earlier, posted something on Twitter about, not really digging it. So I'm assuming he watched some Mythic Championship coverage. To people who want to say about, those who are not a fan of the idea of the London mulligan as Why would you want to promote more non-games in Magic? Okay, that's awfully hyperbolic and fairly disingenuous, honestly. And I get you're trying to invalidate the opinion because you don't agree with it, but if you find yourself, especially in paper, frequently mulliganing down to 3 or 4 cards, I think you might have a problem with your deck, your sleeves, or how you shuffle. Because it is as statistically improbable as the God Hand. And I know, sometimes it feels like every game they got the God Hand. Maybe even more so statistically improbable. So I feel like there's an underlying problem there. I get it's anticlimactic to watch somebody mulligan to oblivion on coverage. But I don't think that's a good enough reason to do something like this, honestly. Especially, it's such a strong mechanic that there's a lot of concern that you could essentially build around it. Looks like I'm popping over to daycare. So, yeah. I think we can have an intelligent discussion without being hyperbolic. I don't know. I've been hyperbolic about it, though, because I have talked about how if you reduce variant too much, you're just creating non-games in the other direction. And I don't think the London Mulligan can be solely said to be doing that. But I do think it creates an environment for potential decks that do it. I don't know. But I'm at daycare. I gotta go get my kids. As always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll actually get to talk to y'all on Monday.